Benji? What are you doing? What are you watching? What you watching? Are you watching video?
This is the story of my brother Benji. At an early age, Benji was diagnosed with the disorder autism. Nobody could know what the future would hold for Benji. But this story comes with a twist. Benji's story is a story filled with love, care, and happiness. Benji's story is about those who are there alongside him on his journey. Benji's story is about family and the memories we have made with him along the way. This is Benji's story. Ready for night-night?
Ready for night-night?
My name is Kevin Juergensen. I am Benjamin Juergensen's father. Benjamin, as an infant, started demonstrating some unusual tendencies, but as it was only our second child, we didn't really think anything of it. He was, in fact, almost too good a baby. He rarely cried. And you could leave him alone on a table, and he would just be perfectly quiet, and you could almost forget he was there. Not that we ever did, but it was like he was a perfect baby. He rarely cried, rarely fussed. When Benji was a year and a half old, he went in for his normal physical checkup by the doctor, and at that time, the doctor asked us the usual questions. They have a list of questions that they ask the parents. They asked us how many words did he say, and he didn't say any. She asked us whether he ever pointed to things that he wanted, like most children will, even if they don't speak, they can point and go, ah, 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 ah. Benjamin never pointed to anything.
At his 2-year well visit checkup, is when the doctor said that he wanted to have him checked out because Benji wasn't making eye contact. And that's when we started doing research and realized that, yes, Benji probably had this condition.
The doctor started testing him herself there, doing some checks. She called his name. He didn't respond. He didn't turn around. She tried to play patty cake with him, and he didn't have any kind of coordination in terms of that, wasn't interested in it. So she suggested to us at that time that we might want to go have his hearing checked, which is a standard thing, but he wasn't deaf. We knew that he wasn't deaf. But she also said, well, I think you might want to have him checked for autism. Now that sent shockwaves through my wife and I.
The constant worries about what's going to happen to him next, what we should do with him, what treatments we should look for, what kind of help we should look for. It's just a constant worry. But we had early intervention when he was 2, which really opened up our eyes.
It was really a frightening thing. Then, of course, you go and do the next worst thing that you can do when your child gets that diagnosis, which is go on the internet and read all about it, and the horror stories, and it began a cycle of worry that went on for quite a while. Raising a child in and of itself is challenging because you're responsible for everything that happens to that child in their environment. A child with autism, you have the layer of worry on top of it, that they don't understand simple commands like no, like stop, like come back. As a child with autism gets older, all the normal stages that they go through, that a normal child would go through, they go through physically, but not mentally. Benjamin, when he started kindergarten, was still probably the equivalent of 2 years old, maybe 2.5 at most. He still didn't respond. He still was nonverbal. So you have additional challenges of now having to help them navigate through a world of neurotypical kids. Children would steal Benji's toys. So we had the additional concerns of having to now look out for the environment that he was in outside of the home, how other people might be relating to him, how other children might be relating to him. That has carried on to this very day, where he's 15 years old and now he's going through puberty, and we have a whole host of new kinds of worries. He's able to feed himself, he's able to get his own food, he's able to wait until we're out of the room to go and sneak food, so he has much more knowledge and presence than he did when he was a baby. So he is learning. Even when he goes and finds out where I hid the Cheez-Its and sneaks them out and eats them, it's hard to get mad at him, because it shows that he was keeping track of what I was doing, and he knew I wasn't around, and so and he decided to take action. So you have to be proud of him for those kinds of things. Because of the fact that he is still mentally very, very young, he has continued to carry on the traits that make him very endearing to others, which I believe is his saving grace in life.
He just seemed like such a sweet kid, just like a really nice demeanor, and he seemed like he really wanted to be involved, like in the class. So it was really funny, because I remember your parents were going on the tour with him, and I was like, oh, he is so nice. I hope I get to have that kid in my room. And here it turned out he was on my roster, and I was like really happy. I was like, oh, we have Benji.
He is an extraordinarily loving, kind, good-spirited child.
Well, he's very cooperative, a really nice guy, had a good sense of humor, and sometimes he'll come out with things that that just surprises you, that just makes you smile, and he makes you smile, and it's just nice to work with someone who's very cooperative.
The teachers all love him. He's very affectionate, which is unusual for autistics. A lot of the patterns of autism are aggressive behavior and anger issues, and Benjamin has none of that.
Everybody loves Benji. Everybody who comes in contact with Benji loves him. He's had a really good support staff from the time we got him started here at Seneca Valley. Up until now, he's at Children's Institute, and he has just a phenomenal support staff.
He's very passive, he's very kind. He's very easy to transition from one thing to another.
I thought that he was very well behaved, and he was really sweet and loving.
I definitely thought he was a sweetheart.
Yeah, like he just wanted to give everybody hugs and have you scratch his back.
He is the kindest, sweetest person I've ever met. Yeah. He's just a big ball of love.
He looks at you, and sometimes kids with autism, they sort of have a tendency to not give you eye contact. Whereas most of the time, feedback that I've gotten from even staff that don't work with Benji, they're like, wow, he has pretty eyes, he really looks at you. And he does.
Benji's mother and I had an opportunity to meet with a Russian doctor who specialized in dealing with autistic children. And he said something to us that was at the time, seemed very harsh. He said, training autistic child is like training dog. It is repetition, repetition, repetition. You must treat him like he is dog. And Benji's mother and I looked at each other, and we were like taken aback by that. But as it turned out, that is exactly the way that Benjamin learned. Everything in repetition, over and over and over and over, and you build one skill upon another skill by repetition.
He's artistic. To see him be able to draw and do things is really neat. I haven't worked with a student who is able to do the drawings and things that he has. Most of the students aren't at that level. They're kind of at, that kind of kid level where they're just scribbling, whereas you could really see detail, and that's really neat to see.
Oh, he's amazing. I have to tell you, like, that was one of the things too. I first noticed, I was like looking at his drawings, and I'm like, this kid is amazing.
The thing that he does best is draw. Benjamin draws very, very well. He draws very, very well because that's what he does all the time. It is repetition. He keeps drawing eyeballs, one eyeball after another, after another, after another, until he gets the kind of eyeball that he likes, or a smile, or a face, or a nose, or a hat, whatever it happens to be. Even within his own self-discipline, his own desire for what he wants to do with his free time, its repetition is still the same way that he gets better and better. Maybe that's true for all of us to one extent or another, but it's especially true when it comes to him. What the future holds for Benjamin, I don't know. Nobody can know. What's my future? What's his brother's future? What's any of our futures? We don't know. I don't anticipate, based upon the degree and severity of his particular condition, that he will ever be able to live on his own. That's a tragedy that I have to come to grips with on an almost continuous basis. It is the tragedy that affects a lot of families of children with this condition. I hope that Benjamin's future is happy. I hope that it's bright, and my duty as a father and a provider is to try and make sure that the necessary resources are in place to provide that for him. You try to best put in place things that will enable others who do care for him to care for him. He is looked after, he's comfortable, he receives proper medical care, and ultimately he lives a happy life. That's all we want for any of our children, and it's even more important for children that are unable to take care of themselves.
I think the best thing that anybody can do for Benji right now is to continue to help him grow, because, I mean, yes, he's autistic, but his brain is still growing.
Right.
And it will be until he's in his 20s, and the best thing for anybody to do is, keep pushing him and keep teaching him and helping him learn and different ways to learn.
Presume competence, that's our big thing here at CI. I mean, don't think that because they tested this on, an assessment that they can't achieve more than that. You know what I mean? Like, and they may have splinter skills. They may be strong like in this area, but in another area they may test higher, So definitely presume competence. Don't think that they can only do this because they can do so much more.
He's cooperative. He's fun, fun to work with. So I think those skills will get him far within whatever kind of setting that he ends up being in. Because I think that's the kind of thing, you want someone who could relate and be around people, and I think that's going to serve him well.
We're always asked that at these IEP meetings that we go to. And of course, it's always for Benji to be able to sustain himself, for him to be able to get a job and live on his own and be a productive part of society. The reality of that is we don't know yet, but that's what we're working for. So we just take it one day at a time.
One of the first memories I have of Benji drawing was he got a hold of a Sharpie in the house. And I woke up in the morning and one side of the wall was painted with these balloon heads, because that's the only thing he could do at the time was balloon-headed people. And his mother woke up and she freaked out because he had drawn all over the wall. I immediately went and grabbed my camera and I started taking pictures of it. Why? Because all of the balloon-headed people, every last one of them had smiles. They were all happy. When he draws things like that, he draws them with big grins, big smiles on his face. And I can't help but think that that is a little bit of an insight into his own mind, into how he feels, what he's thinking. And I'm really happy that he does see the world as smiling back at him. And I think that's one of the best qualities of Benjamin.
What skies are gray, you'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
There you have it. The story of Benji. Part 1 anyway.
Good to see you.
The French novelist Amantine Dupin once wrote, "There is only one happiness in life, to love and be loved."
Bye, Benji.
By that measure, it can be said that my brother Benji has a very happy life indeed.